Hi, everybody. Happy New Year. I can't believe we are in 2026. Um, that's crazy. Oh, I didn't say my intro. Welcome back to English with Gemma, where we turn English practice into progress. I was so excited about saying Happy New Year that I forgot about that part. But yeah, here we are, another year. And today's episode is going to be all about setting intentions that are realistic and achievable. Because something that I hear all too often is my students complaining or being a little upset that they feel like they didn't achieve their goals this year, this 2025, this past year. And I think one of the main reasons that happens is because we are setting goals that are way, way, way too um, difficult and unobtainable. And, it's great to challenge yourselves. I don't think like you should be not challenging yourselves, but I do think that there's a happy medium. There's a balance between setting intentions that we can really achieve. And when you set yourself obtainable goals, you will be much happier with the results. So, for example, my New Year's intention, I don't like using the word resolution. I don't know why. I think it's because I just have kind of like this negative feeling towards the idea of New Year's resolutions because I do find it really difficult to set goals around this time of the year. And I think there's a lot of pressure on social media to do that in the new year, in January. But in my opinion, and scientifically speaking, the best time for growth and rebirth and new beginnings and kind of taking time to slow down and set intentions is actually spring. So I've always just kind of felt that it's like a bit weird to uh set intentions in January, especially because I'm someone who suffers with like seasonal depression. So around this time of year, I'm very demotivated and I'm not in the mood to start setting intentions and doing new things. So for me personally, that's the reasoning. If you find it easy to set intentions in January, then I think that's awesome and like that's great. But for me personally, and like scientifically speaking, it's kind of a weird time of the year to starting from the beginning or starting again. So, with that being said, I do think that like we can set new goals at any time. And because this is the time of year that we feel a bit pressured to do this, that is why I'm talking about it right now. I thought this would be a great first episode for 2026. So, with all of that disclaimer being said, let's jump into it. So, my New Year's intention is how would I phrase this? I guess spending my time more intentionally and kind of making the most out of my free time. And the first real step I'm taking in that direction to achieve that goal is taking a step back from social media. Now, I'm not talking about English with Gemma before you panic and think that that means I'll be making less content. Actually, on the contrary, hopefully, I'll have time to make more content because I have decided to deactivate my personal Instagram because I just felt like I was wasting a lot of time on there, scrolling mindlessly. And yeah, it just was not a good use of my free time. So I just deactivated it about a week ago and I've felt a lot more focused, calmer, and just better in general, especially because I was kind of comparing myself to people on there and it just was very toxic for me. So it's been nice to just not feel like every 5 seconds I have to check my Instagram, you know? So it gives me so much more time to be present in the real world, like spending time in reality because everything we see online, like, that's not real life, right? And it's so easy to spend hours just consuming content And of course, it can be great. There's a lot of great educational or interesting content on the internet. I'm not saying we can't use it, but just like maybe redefining your relationship with how you use it and being a bit more intentional in how much time you're spending, what kind of content you are consuming, and all those types of things. So that is my personal goal. If you needed some inspiration and you just kind of couldn't think of something that you wanted to do, maybe have a look at your relationship with social media or technology or your phone in general and see if you can redefine that or if it needs some work. I have a really good episode on this on my YouTube and Spotify. I think it's called Why I Decided to Break Up with My Instagram or Take a Break from Instagram, or why social media is like ruining my life. I don't know, something like that. But if you just put English with Gemma and then like social media or Instagram on YouTube or Spotify, you should be able to find that episode where I talk a bit about that. So, the main topic of today's episode is setting intentions for 2026 and how we can make them achievable. So, before we begin, let's take a breath. Let's take a moment to kind of focus and, you know, arrive here in this present moment, because a lot of this episode is going to be about grounding and focusing your energy for 2026. So here we are, a new year. It can feel exciting, but it can also feel really overwhelming and maybe even scary, because it's very easy to think, I need to change everything all at once, right? But today we're going to just take a step back, take a deep breath, and learn how to set small, realistic intentions. In other words, goals that you can really do. And don't worry, because I hope that it will be easy to understand. I'm going to try and explain this in a simple way without confusing vocabulary, in a very easy to understand way. So hopefully it will just help you to kind of organize all the thoughts that you might have in your head around this time of year. So we're in 2026, it's a fresh start, and a fresh start often means a new beginning. When a new year starts, a lot of people are thinking about your life, your habits, and maybe your hopes and dreams for the new year. Some people feel a lot of pressure, like I said before, and they say this year needs to be perfect. This is like, I love slash hate the expression like, this year is going to be my year, or like new year, new me. Like, we feel like we need to just like reinvent ourselves and change everything. But perfection is not real, okay? We don't need to be perfect in 2026. We just need to be realistic and kind to ourselves. That's the most important thing. So, the first question I'm going to throw out at you is, how do you want to feel in 2026? Not what do you want to do, what do you want to see, where do you want to travel, what do you want to achieve? No, how do you want to feel? And you can think quietly in your head, or you can write it down. You can pause this video or pause the podcast and just write, how do I want to feel in 2026? It can be a sentence, or it can be a bullet point list of different feelings that you want to invoke, or any other way that you want to do it. It's up to you. It's your question, it's your answer, and you answer the way you want. The way that I would do this personally is like a bullet point list, and I've written down some adjectives. I've got calm, confident, healthy, proud, and happy. And remember, I said feel, not do. So this is a list of emotions or feelings. And why are we doing this first? Because feelings are really important when we set intentions. Okay. So the next section, we're going to be talking about the difference between an intention and a goal. So a goal is something specific. For example, I will lose 10 kilos. I will speak English perfectly. These goals can feel very big and stressful, but an intention is different. An intention is how you want to live or try something. So instead of like, I want to lose 10 kilos, which can sound almost like a punishment to yourself, like, I have to lose weight because I'm fat, you're like, that's not a healthy way to think about it or have a relationship with your body. So instead of writing like the goal of, I want to lose 10 kilos, I would, you know, kindly suggest that we write an intention that's more like, I want to take care of my body. And then how are you going to take steps to do that? Or I want to practice English with confidence. So intentions are flexible, gentle, and realistic. You can ask yourself this question as well. What kind of person do I want to be in 2026? So the first question was, how do I want to feel? What kind of person do I want to be? Not what must I finish or complete or do. This shift in mindset is going to help us feel more motivated and less afraid or overwhelmed, which means when we have too many things going on at the same time and we feel very stressed. So, my next section, I want to talk about the word achievable. What does that mean? Achievable means possible. It means you can really do it in your life. And for ESL learners, this is very important because we often put a lot of pressure on ourselves when we're language learners. And we think big. We have big goals and aspirations when it comes to learning English. So that can often translate over to just general life goals as well, because we put so much pressure on ourselves to like study and be perfect and be fluent and speak with confidence and all of those things of language learning. Sometimes that type of like energy can come over to our normal goals. And I don't want that for us. I want us to have achievable goals and feel good about the way we're living our lives in 2026. So, an example of a non-achievable intention is like, I will perfect all English grammar in 1 month. An achievable goal or intention is, I will learn 5 new English words every week. So big goals often make us quit early because we realize early on, I'm not able to achieve this, which leads to feelings of disappointment and then feeling like a failure and then quitting, right? So we are like literally setting ourselves up for failure when we make our goals too big. So small goals help us to continue. Because in 2026, we want to focus on choosing progress and not pressure. And that's like when I start every episode, I say, welcome back to English with Gemma, where practice makes progress, not perfect. Practice doesn't make perfect because perfection doesn't exist. So practice makes progress. And, small steps are still important steps. In the next section, I want to take some time to get more specific about setting intentions for 2026, especially for ESL learners or any language learners. So here are some achievable intentions that you can use, like as is, as they already are, or you can kind of use them as a framework, a structure, and change them to suit your needs. So the first one is speaking. The intention, I intend to speak a little more English each week. This could mean speaking to a classmate, talking to yourself, or recording your voice on your phone and doing some shadowing exercises. So even 1 minute a day counts. Okay. So first intention is about speaking, however you want to try and achieve that. Second intention is about listening. I intend to listen to English every day. This could be a song where you listen and then you try to memorize the lyrics, and then you can even take that further into a vocab exercise and start translating the lyrics. You can look at idioms or phrasal verbs that appear in the lyrics and use those lyrics as an exercise. It could be listening to a short video or a podcast like this one. Challenge yourself to listen to one of my podcasts every day. You don't need to understand everything. Understanding some is enough, and it's a starting place, a starting point. And then you can, see your progress as time goes on. Third intention is about vocabulary. I intend to learn useful words, not many words. So we're focusing on quality over quantity. useful words, not many words. So we're not like, okay, let's make a huge list of phrasal verbs and learn the whole thing. No, let's focus on useful real life English phrases that you can use in every day. So, for example, words that you use at school, words that you'll use at your job, words for daily life, like ordering at a restaurant, going to the grocery store, going to the doctor. And the last intention is about confidence and mindset. And it is, I intend to be kind to myself when I make mistakes. I intend to be kind to myself when I make mistakes. Mistakes are not bad. Mistakes mean that you're learning. And when we make mistakes, we pause, we reflect, we learn, and we move on. We don't punish ourselves. We don't get angry. We don't get frustrated. We laugh it off and we learn from it. So in 2026, let mistakes be your teachers. Okay. So that is up to you whether you want to keep those intentions as is or whether you want to shift them. And just quickly, I will repeat those intentions so that you can write them down if you want. So the speaking intention was, I intend to speak English a little more each week. The listening intention was, I intend to listen to English every day. The vocabulary intention was, I intend to learn useful words, not many words. And the confidence intention was, I intend to be kind to myself even when I make mistakes. In the last section, I would like to do an activity together to kind of make this a more active practice, not just passively listening to me, but like, let's take this a step further. So we're going to do a short activity together. Please finish this sentence. You can pause the video. Just write this, get a pen, get a piece of paper, or you can write it down in your notes app on your phone. I'm a very big believer in pen to paper. I think that when we write things down physically, it just gets ingrained in our brain a little better, and it's just more like a physical action, and it feels stronger to me personally. But if you're a very technological and you like to write things on your phone, that's fine too. But I love a pen and a paper, so hopefully that little spiel gave you a second to go grab a piece of paper and a pen. So please finish this sentence. In 2026, I intend to da 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 da. You finish the rest. In 2026, I intend to blah, blah, blah. I would write 3 different things if I were you, but it's up to you. This is your practice. This is your intention setting. So this is my example. In 2026, I intend to, number 1, practice English without fear. Number 2, study a little bit every day and often. So, study doesn't have to be a huge amount of time, but every day, consistent. So, number 1, practice English without fear. Number 2, study a little but often. And number 3, enjoy learning, don't rush. Enjoy learning, don't rush. Enjoy the journey, enjoy the process, and stop rushing and putting so much pressure on yourself. Those are my 3 ideas. Pause the video or the podcast to write your 3 ideas now. The next step, once you've written those ideas, is to say your sentences out loud if you can. These are your intentions, and they don't have to be perfect, just a friendly reminder. But saying your sentences out loud kind of makes them more concrete, in my opinion. I always like to say my intentions out loud. So, in closing, I would like to say, as we welcome 2026, remember these 3 things. You do not need to change everything all at once. It does not need to be fast. And you do not need to be perfect. You need to be consistent, patient, and kind to yourself. Every small step matters. Every word you learn matters. And most importantly, you matter, and you come above everything else. Prioritize yourself. Prioritize your happiness, your health, especially your mental health with the crazy world that we are living in right now. Um, and yeah, I could go on and on and on. As you know, I love to talk. I love the sound of my own voice, but I'll leave it there. So let's all take a deep breath together to close this practice and smile and enjoy the rest of your day. Welcome to 2026. Let's make this year count. Thank you guys so much for listening and watching, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.